Fable 5 is literally back, quietly reappearing in Amazon Bedrock, and new code strings inside Claude Code show Fable 5 weekly usage limits being built into existing subscriptions. And this is not all. The ban just proved to be a blessing in disguise as an even more powerful successor to Mythos 5 has finished training. Yes, the big boys are back, and they are back with a bang. So how Fable 5 will work when it is fully opened? What exactly has made it even better? What the new pricing model looks like? How to get the maximum value from day one, and most crucially, what we know about Mythos 5.1 so far. Let's get straight into it all. This week has been crazy because the signals just went from speculative to concrete very fast. On Tuesday, a leaker going by Synthwaved on X posted that Claude Code version 2.1.190 contains new strings buried inside the production binary that directly reference Fable 5 returning. The headline string reads, "You've used your included Fable 5 usage for this week." But the real story is not that single line. It is what disappeared alongside it. In the older version of the code, there was a phrase that read, "purchased separately from your plan," which made it clear Fable 5 was always intended as an expensive premium add-on we would buy on top of our regular Claude subscription. That phrase has been completely stripped out, gone. In its place, the new language reads, "Your included Fable 5 usage," which means access would be bundled directly into the subscription we already pay for. Now, Decrypt did not just trust the screenshot. They downloaded the Mac OS Claude Code package directly from NPM, extracted the binary, and ran a string scan on it themselves. The new Fable 5 copy was confirmed. It is real. And then a second signal landed. Fable 5 quietly reappeared in Amazon Bedrock's model catalog. No announcement, no press release, it just started showing back up in the documentation and model cards. For a model to resurface in enterprise cloud infrastructure like Bedrock, that reflects actual operational readiness on the back end, not just a product team writing forward-looking copy. Enterprise cloud integrations do not drift back into documentation by accident. Someone put it there because the model is being prepared to go live again. And the third signal is the most significant one, but I am saving it for later in this video because it changes the entire picture of what Anthropic is actually doing behind the scenes. Now, before you start bashing me with "the model is not showing up in the model picker," just hold on for a few minutes. You'll get the answer a bit later in the video. And there is something even bigger here, making Fable 5 even better than it was before. Here it is. This is the part that matters the most for anyone who was paying for Fable before, because the pricing model has fundamentally changed. Under the original launch structure, Fable 5 was free on Pro, Max, Team, and Enterprise plans from June 9th through June 22nd, and then it would move to separately purchased usage credits. That meant paying extra on top of our existing subscription to use the most powerful model. The new code strings tell a different story. You've used your included Fable 5 usage for this week, and run/usage credits to keep using Fable 5 point toward a weekly allotment model. Think of it the way a mobile data plan works. We get a set amount of Fable 5 usage each week as part of what we already pay for. If we burn through that allotment, then it starts pulling from our credits balance. But the baseline access is included, not purchased separately. That is a genuinely better deal than what was originally announced. We will be getting Anthropic's most powerful model bundled directly into our existing plan, resetting weekly. No separate purchase upfront, no extra tier to subscribe to. For most users doing regular work with occasional heavy Fable sessions, the weekly allotment will likely cover what we need without ever touching the credits balance. For API developers, the model ID Claude-Fable-5 is already established. When it returns, we can expect it to be available on the Claude API, Claude Code, AWS Bedrock, Google Cloud Vertex, and Microsoft Foundry, the same surfaces it was on before the suspension. On pricing for API use, the previous rates were $10 per million input tokens and $50 per million output tokens. Whether those change with the return is something Anthropic has not confirmed. But the direction of the code changes suggests Anthropic is moving toward broader access, not tighter. And that raises the obvious question. If Fable is about to come back with a better deal, how do we actually make sure we get the most value from it when it does? Because based on what happened during the first 2 weeks, a lot of us burned through credits faster than necessary. And there is a smarter approach that actual Anthropic engineers are already using. Let's have a look. And as we move to the most crucial portion of the video, just hit that like button and press the lonely subscribe button as well. This is the section that most channels covering this story are going to skip entirely, and it is the one that will actually save us money when Fable comes back. The single biggest mistake people made during Fable 5's original 3-day window was pointing the model at their entire codebase and asking it to fix everything. They burned through tokens at an extraordinary rate, hit their limits within hours, and often ended up with the model doing shallow point fixes instead of addressing the real underlying problems. Some people bought additional Claude Code subscriptions just to keep going. That is expensive learning. Nicholas Carlini, who is a security researcher at Anthropic, described his own approach in a podcast, and it is the opposite of what most users were doing. He uses a language model to sweep through all the files in a code base and rate each one on a scale of 1 to 5 for how likely it is to contain something interesting. He discards the 1s and 2s and only sends the expensive model to the 3s, 4s, and 5s. The principle behind this is simple, and it applies to all of us, not just security researchers. Impact multiplied by opportunity. Impact means how far-reaching is this part of the code base? Is it imported by many other files? Is it in a high-traffic path? How much pain does fixing it actually eliminate? Opportunity means how buggy or how slow or how messy is this particular area right now. If something is high impact but low opportunity, meaning it is important but already working fine, leave it alone. If something is low impact but high opportunity, meaning it is messy but nobody cares about it, skip it. We want to point Fable at the intersection, high impact and high opportunity, the parts of our code base that matter the most and are in the worst shape. And here is the practical part. We can build this targeting system right now, today, using cheaper models like Opus 4.8 or Sonnet. Have them sweep through the code base, score every file on both dimensions, multiply the scores together, and produce a ranked list. Git churn multiplied by complexity gives us a tech debt ranking. Unused confidence multiplied by the size of dead code gives us a cleanup ranking. Traffic multiplied by drop-off rate gives us a conversion optimization ranking. The point is to have our ranked lists ready before Fable comes back, so that from minute 1 we are feeding it the highest value work instead of letting it wander. And one more thing that makes a real difference with these powerful models. When Fable fixes something, ask the follow-up question. Is there a meta-level pattern here? Is there a deeper underlying issue we should tackle instead? Because without that prompt, the model will often do a point fix, patch the symptom, and move on. With that prompt, it will look for the architectural root cause and fix the whole class of bugs at once. That is dramatically more valuable per token spent. Build the machine now. Have the ranked lists ready. Feed Fable the highest value work first. Ask for root causes, not symptoms. That is how we get the most out of a weekly limit, whatever that limit turns out to be. And now it's time to know how the Fable ban actually proved to be a blessing in disguise for both Anthropic and us. Though highly crucial, this is the detail that has been getting much lesser attention than it deserves. AI analyst Andrew Curran reported on June 21st that Anthropic has already finished training a more powerful successor to Mythos 5. Let that land for a second. The ban on Fable 5 went into effect on June 12th. Curran's report is dated June 21st. That is 9 days. 9 days after the government forced Fable 5 offline, a successor model was reportedly already done training and sitting finished on Anthropic servers. Whether it ends up being called Mythos 5.1 or Mythos 6, Anthropic has not confirmed anything publicly. But the fact that it reportedly exists, completed, while the model it succeeds is still suspended and unavailable to us, is an extraordinary situation. And here is the insight that makes this even more interesting. When Fable 5 got pulled from public access, all the compute that was previously tied up running the model for millions of users in real time suddenly became available. That compute did not disappear. It became available for training runs. The suspension may have inadvertently given Anthropic a resource advantage that accelerated the very capability progression the government was trying to slow down. Separately, a Claude Sonnet 5 slug was spotted on a partner provider. The same pattern happened back in February when a spotted slug preceded the Sonnet 4.6 release, and there are reports that Sonnet 5 may already be in early access for select enterprise customers, potentially serving as a stopgap while Fable 5 is offline. Now the important caveat. None of this is confirmed. There is no Mythos 5.1 or Mythos 6 listed anywhere official. There is no Sonnet 5 on Anthropic's public model page. These are credible reports from credible reporters, but they are still unconfirmed. And there is a real question of tier. If the new model is Sonnet 5, it sits below the Mythos tier, which means it would not approach Fable 5's capability. But if it is genuinely Mythos 5.1 or 6, then we could be looking at something more powerful than the model that was already the most capable public AI in the world. If Fable 5 returns with a weekly allotment model and a stronger Mythos successor is close behind it, Anthropic comes back from this whole situation in a stronger position than before the ban. And this is what makes the timing so interesting. As I said earlier, there are few things we all need to keep in perspective before treating any of this as settled. And I say this knowing some of us are eager for Fable to come back and may not want to hear the caveats. But this channel does not pick favorites. It picks facts. First, the code strings are real, but code is not a launch. Companies write UI copy for features they are actively preparing months before anything ships. The strings confirm that Anthropic is building toward a return with a weekly allotment model. They do not confirm a date. Second, the Amazon Bedrock listing is significant, but Anthropic staff explicitly confirmed that zero traffic is being routed to Fable 5. The model picker appearances were a UI bug. Do not rebuild production pipelines or shift workflows based on polymarket odds and UI bugs. Third, on the Mythos successor, Andrew Curran is a credible reporter, but has finished training and is ready to ship are very different stages. Training completion is followed by safety evaluation, red teaming, alignment tuning, and deployment preparation. A model can be done training and still months away from public access. Fourth, there is a new detail that deserves attention. Anthropic updated its privacy policy, effective July 8th, to begin collecting government-issued ID and biometric data through a provider called Persona. The most likely explanation is that this is the mechanism for a US citizens-only restoration, allowing Anthropic to verify nationality without lifting the export control directive entirely. That is a practical solution, but it also means the first version of Fable 5's return may be geographically restricted. The honest read is this. Fable 5 is almost certainly coming back. The pricing model when it returns looks better than the original. A more powerful successor may exist, and the timeline is probably weeks, not months. But none of it is confirmed, and building our work around a date that does not exist yet is how people get burned. By the way, how was your experience with Fable before it got banned? And have you tried the multi-model orchestration replacements like Sakana and Open Router for your Fable-dependent tasks? Do share in the comments. Subscribe to my channel as I keep an eye on every single development on these AI models, be it from Claude, OpenAI, Gemini, or the Chinese ones. I'll see you in the next one.